conducted a powerful nuclear test. The world was shocked. In that silent desert, India's voice roared across the world. India made history. Behind that moment stood one man. But this man wasn't born in power. He didn't grow up with fame or privilege. He once sold newspapers to support his family. He studied under streetlights. This is not just the story of a scientist or a president. This is the story of Dr. a.p.j. Abdul Kalam, the missile man, the people's president, the boy who touched the sky. He was born on October 15th, 1931, in Rameswaram, a small coastal town in southern India. His father was a Bodo, his mother a kind and spiritual woman. The family had no luxury, no wealth, but they had deep values and a strong heart. He grew up quietly, helping his father, selling newspapers, and studying under streetlights. Still, he topped every class. In the early 1950s, he studied physics at St. Joseph's College, but his heart was set on the skies. He dreamed of flying, of building planes, of touching the clouds. In 1955, he got admission to Madras Institute of Technology, MIT, to study aeronautical engineering. But the fees were far beyond what his family could afford. So his sister quietly sold her gold bangles to keep his dream alive. He never forgot that. At MIT, his final project failed. His professor warned him, fix it in 3 days or leave. Kalam didn't sleep. He worked without rest. On the third day, the professor simply said, "You've done it, Kalam." He didn't run from failure. He built strength through it. In 1958, he applied to the Indian Air Force. It was his dream to fly. But he was rejected, and it broke him. He sat in silence by the banks of the Ganga River in Rishikesh. A saint nearby told him, rejection is simply redirection. And Kalam stood up again. After the Air Force rejection in 1958, he joined DRDO, where he worked on military technologies, but his dreams were still waiting for wings. In 1969, recognizing his deep passion for rocketry, the government transferred him to ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. It was there that his dreams of space would finally take flight. At that time, there were no labs, no computers, no big buildings. Rocket parts were carried on bicycles. Satellites launched from church buildings. But Kalam never gave up. He just worked. In 1979, India was ready to launch its first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3. Kalam was the mission director. The nation watched. But something went wrong. The rocket failed and fell into the Bay of Bengal. It was a public failure, and the media surrounded them. But that day, Dr. Satish Dhawan, the chairman of ISRO, stepped forward and said, "We failed, but I trust my team. We will succeed next time." He didn't blame Kalam. He protected him. A year later, in 1980, SLV-3 lifted off successfully, placing the Rohini satellite into orbit. It was a milestone in India's space journey. A dream finally touched the sky. And this time, Dr. Dhawan stepped back and asked Kalam to face the press. That moment taught Kalam the true meaning of leadership. In the 1980s and 90s, he worked on India's defense projects, Agni, Prithvi, Trishul, Akash. He gave India strength and confidence. Then in 1998, he led the Pokhran nuclear tests, a mission planned with care and complete silence. The work was done at night. Every step was kept secret because the world could not know until the moment of success. And on May 11th, 1998, India conducted a successful nuclear test. The world was surprised. India had proven its strength, not with words, but with science and silence. But even then, Kalam stayed humble. He simply moved on to the next mission. After the Pokhran nuclear test in 1998, Kalam became a national hero. But instead of celebrating, he turned to the future. He became the principal scientific advisor to the government of India. But his real mission was not in offices, it was in classrooms. He traveled across the country, met thousands of students, and told them, "You are the future, you are the strength, dream big." In 1999, he wrote India 2020, a powerful vision to make India a developed nation. He spoke not just of rockets and technology, but of values, of education, of building a nation from the ground up, because he believed that the true power of a nation lived in its young minds. In 2002, India made him the 11th president of the republic, not because of politics, but because of love. He met students, more than ministers, answered letters from children, spoke of dreams to every heart that listened. He once said, "Dream is not what you see in sleep. It is something that doesn't let you sleep." After his presidency ended in 2007, he didn't retire. He returned to classrooms. He spoke in colleges, wrote books, answered emails from students. One by one, he became India's teacher. On July 27, 2015, he was giving a lecture at IIM Shillong. He smiled, spoke of science and service. Then suddenly, he paused, placed a hand on his heart, and collapsed. His last breath was spent teaching, even in death. He inspired. He had no wealth, no luxury. He never married. Only books and a heart full of dreams. He once said, "I am not a handsome guy, but I can give my hand to someone who needs help, because beauty is in the heart." But when he left, the entire nation cried, because they didn't lose a scientist. They lost a teacher, a guide, a father. He was and will forever remain Dr. a.p.j. Abdul Kalam, India's humble son, the people's president, the missile man. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want more inspiring journeys, check out our other videos too.